say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around. We aren't going to let any injunction turn us around.
So this video is dedicated to that same angel. The last video I had a little bit of moisture on my shirt because I had just gotten out of the shower and I didn't wait for it to dry when I put on my shirt. I didn't properly dry off my hair or something. What happened? Okay, so this video is dedicated to that same angel. I think my beard was a little bit off and I'm trying to fix it here. Anyway, so I'm sure you all know that there's a difference between Masonry and their views on society and my views. They talk about how they're against intolerance. The same guy who wrote it in Morals and Dogma, Albert Pike, was a Confederate general who was fighting for the South's right to be intolerant with African Americans and to be greedy and to exploit their labor. He talks about how Masonry is against greed. Surely that in itself proves the hypocrisy of Masons. And then there's Annie Besant. This person, you know, it's a very in-your-face example of the alliance between the atheists and the Hindus and Buddhists that I talk about so much, as well as socialists. And we all know the socialists line up with mental health almost exactly. They talk about, well, we want more treatment and less prison time. The problem with that is that they're overzealous with their treatment and grabbing anybody they can and throwing them in mental health, you know, to feed the coffers of big pharmaceuticals. So, and of course this feeds into eugenics. Of course Annie Besant and Margaret Sanger were the same type of quote-unquote socialist, you know, thinkers, social thinkers. Margaret Sanger was a nurse, you know. So a lot of you don't like the new list I added up. That's another thing, you know. This angel that I have in mind, she gets to be the first person. No, she gets to have her dedication video, her second one, you know, in the first video where I put this list up. The military break their oath every day. Okay, when I broke my oath, it was for a short period of time, and I took another one, and I quickly recognized my mistake. And even before I did, I had justified it using love. You know, the love for God, not a love for Babylon's system and upholding Babylonian social norms and hegemony and cultural imperialism. You know, so absolutely. And don't forget number 7, the conformists. Okay, I felt I really need to highlight their part in all this. You know, the people who are going to speak out against me are all the worst scum and the conformists. So believe me when I say that those who think the way that I do will fight for honor and God. And we aren't going to let Annie Besant and her followers turn us around. Nor will we let the Fabian Society, their followers and allies, nor will we let the military or any oath-breaking pigs turn us around. We should have the right to pursue happiness according to them. Even when you look at it from their perspective, they're complete hypocrites and liars. That's why they must do it in secret in the first place. That's why police have a code of silence in the first place. Who was going against King? It was law enforcement. Why? To uphold social norms. Why did this same speech start? All we say to America is be true.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper.
Be true to what you said on paper. Okay? True to what you said. Don't reinterpret the Constitution using the Supreme Court and say, you know what? Freedom of speech really doesn't matter. Right to bear arms really doesn't matter. Right to assemble really doesn't matter. The idea that you should be able to pursue your own happiness doesn't matter. We're going to take away your guns, limit your free speech almost completely, and we are going to drug you so you cannot find happiness. No matter how much you tell us, I want to be happy, these drugs are not making me happy or functional, we're going to say what you say doesn't matter. How they electroshocked that little boy, electroconvulsive therapy, he's screaming, help, help. And you know why they did it to that boy? Now forget the fact that he was an African American boy, but you know why they did it to him. Because he did not remove his coat. Is that not enforcing white social norms in a very sadistic manner? Is that not mental health and psychiatry specifically and especially enforcing white social norms? This is the apotheosis. This is the essence of enforcing white social norms. They're caught on record. And we're supposed to trust those sickos with the power to take away our gun rights like that? Them and the pigs. No questions asked. You go to the mental health. Before you even get diagnosed, you lose your gun rights. Because a pig said so. Because a police brutality loving, Martin Luther King fucking arresting pig said so. And we are supposed to, keep people who have not committed any crime in the psych ward for weeks and months. And sometimes TCON them. Tell them that they can only have $25 of their own money a day. Because a bunch of sadistic, disproportionately pedophiles and rapist trash, a bunch of electroshocking, lobotomy doing in the past type motherfuckers said so. A bunch of eugenicists in psychiatry said so. And you see these sissies in the FBI and the CIA, siding with. Why? Because a lot of those doctors work with them. They are planted there for them. It is part of the war effort. It is part of the American era. It is part of the agenda of America. When they were doing things in the Hispanic country, it was either El Salvador or Nicaragua, right? The School of the Americas. What were they doing there in the name of the American era? What does the CIA do in the name of the American era? Worshipping Saturn behind closed doors? Is that what it means to be an American? To have secret societies making decisions for us? Who believe things in a way that is contrary to the masses of Christians? Now let's not forget that these people believe in gathering wealth and subjugating men. Things of this world. That's what it means to be a Mason. Need I remind you? Again, need I remind you? Let's see where we go. Impatient. Okay, I'm just gonna read the whole thing and stop after the battle of life. Life is a battle, and to fight that battle heroically and well is the great purpose of every man's existence, who is worthy and fit to live it all. Okay, I would say that is a pretty good statement, except for the end. Who is worthy and fit to live it all? No, all life is precious, you sicko. That is an anti-Christian statement you've already made, and it already implies eugenics. And then when you go on to define what it means to you to fight heroically, you have defined yourself. And all these Masons who have your statue, and America that has your statue in Washington, D.C., I believe by Lincoln Memorial, all as eugenicists. To stem the strong currents of adversity, to advance in despite of all obstacles, to snatch victory from the jealous grasp of fortune, to become a chief and a leader among men, to rise to rank and power by eloquence, courage, perseverance, study, energy, activity, discouraged by no reverses, impatient of no delays, deterred by no hazards, to win wealth, to subjugate men by our intellect, the very elements by our audacity, to succeed, to prosper, to thrive. Thus it is according to the general understanding that one fights well the battle of life. Wow. One fights well. One fights heroically, right? If you don't win wealth, if you don't subjugate other men, you're not fit to live. According to this motherfucker, who has statues in almost every Masonic lodge in the fucking country, especially Grand Lodges. According to this motherfucker, who has black guys posing for pictures next to his statue. Black Masons. A Confederate general. Fit to live. Need I remind you that eugenics has everything to do with the Confederates. Not to mention all other white secret societies, not to mention America in general. We were the main people that pushed eugenics. David Starr Jordan, I believe, was the founding president of Stanford, something like that, a eugenicist. John D. Rockefeller, David Rockefeller's father, a eugenicist. Socialists, progressives, liberals, Republicans, eugenics on record. Now, who was Nathan Bedford Forrest? A Confederate officer, a Mason, Ku Klux Klan. Margaret Sanger gave a speech to the Ku Klux Klan. Annie Besant, Fabian Society, Wolves in Sheep's Clothes. Theosophical Society. Madame Blavatsky, one of her big fans, was 32 or 33 degree Mason Manly P. Hall. The Lost Keys of Freemasonry or something. The Secret Teachings of All Times. Something almost exactly. That's either the title or it's something very close to that. Satanists on record. Materialistic on record. Who feeds into gold digging? There's a bunch of secret society whores who are influencing their friends in fraternities, social clubs, controlled political groups, and otherwise, who believe in these principles that if you do not get wealth, you are not fit to live. This is not what is taught by Jesus in the Bible. Let me just read you this real quick. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall have a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. James 5, 1 through 3. It is easier for a camel to get to the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. Pretty much the exact words, depending on the translation. Christianity doesn't teach go out and get rich and subjugate men. It was the people who subjugate men that crucified the Messiah. It was the Satanists. It was the secret societies, the Pharisees. It was the Romans. It was the people who rise to rank and power that put Jesus on the cross. Them and the conformist cowards who roll with them. It was the people who agree with Pike that crucified Jesus in the first place. But none of us should be surprised, because according to Mackey and many others, this goes back to Solomon's temple. And the Masons who were there at Solomon's temple were not Christians. The Christ hadn't come yet. They were pagans and Jews. These people created the materialistic movements in America. Period. Who were the wealthy plantation owners? Who were the people that collaborated with the officials? Benjamin Franklin even went to England during the time of the Revolutionary War, and he was over there, making sure things would fall in place the way the Masons wanted them to. Annie Besant is an English writer and orator. She was trained in their schools. The first, second, third wave feminism were all influenced by Masonry. Absolutely. Because paganism and witchcraft and Wicca and other inferior forms of thought go hand in hand. They, quote unquote, empower women. Let me tell you something about empowering women. When you make a woman a gold-digging, shallow, dumb bitch and tell her that's what it means to be an intellectual, that is not empowering women. There is only one force in the universe that truly empowers women, and that is the Lord Almighty. Win wealth, subjugate men, rise to rank and power. You are the oppressors. You are the KKK. You are the Hitler occultists of the world. You are the secret society filth. And the military orders that rolled with them, the Hospitallers, the Templars. You are the military on record. The Hospitallers, the hospital. You are the medical fucking, euthanization, eugenics. Well, I'm out of time. Thank you.